Hey folks, how's it going? Tim Beavers here. I'd just like to give us a little short intro to the video I just made, explain a few things. My objective with it was initially to get the GTN 750 and show how it interfaced along with the two Garmin G5s, the attitude indicator and the HSI. There's a lot of great symbology on the G5s, but those aren't really simulated in any of the Garmin simulation software. I really didn't find any videos that showed it in detail, real world situations and stuff. So I thought maybe there's a little hole to fill. Plus, maybe as a training tool for the local folks flying in and around South Charlotte at the Monroe Executive Airport. So I went ahead and started with two GoPro cameras, one in front of the two G5s, another in front of the 750. Then I figured, well, I got a spot up above by the domes, let me add a forward view camera. And then I realized, it's kind of silly for me to just go along speaking for 20 minutes without ever showing my face. So I added a camera on me. And then lastly, to make it just one more level more complex, I recorded the iPad so you could see the little blue airplane flying around in ForeFlight. So you had a essay on the where we were on the approach plate. So I have a new and profound appreciation for the film guys that edit, splice, and time and all that other neat stuff, because it's my first hack at it, so that the video is a little rough around the edges. But I hope you enjoy it and hope you glean a few tidbits here and there. The first video of the series is an LPV to a missed approach, runway 5 at Monroe, and the second one we just went on a downwind, gave some vectors for the ILS runway 5 in Monroe. And I also added a little bit of VNAV in there, because that's the cool thing about the G5s. Once you have a G5, the VNAV actually can be programmed in the 750, and it means something on the display of the G5. I do have a few bumbles here and there. The flight was basically unscripted. One mistake that I made that cost 30 seconds of video time was that I thought the traffic page, I'd be able to make that a relative altitude rather than absolute altitude versus relative, but no, they're all relative. It's either plus your altitude or minus, and that goes back to my old Air Force days, wanting to have an absolute altitude, Angels 3.5 type of thing. So, it's a pretty good video. Other than that, there is one other complication that reared its ugly head. This was done during a hot summer day in Charlotte, and the main camera to the GTN 750 was in the glaring sun, and it overheated. And it happened on departure. So after jerry rigging a few things and getting a scarf out of my bag and rigging up something to shade the GTN 750 camera, then we were back in business. But I hope you enjoy the videos, and please, not everything obviously was covered or even possibly could be covered in a 15-minute approach video. So if you have any questions, email me or leave them down below, and I'll be certain to answer them. If you have stuff you want to see in the future, please also leave that comment as well. And any critiques, chances are, if you're critiquing it, I've probably already seen it and it's bugging me. But I'd rather than wait for perfection, which may never happen, I'm just going to get this video out and hope that my subsequent ones are produced a little better. So it is what it is. But definitely appreciation for those video guys that spend a lot of time in the cutting room floor. Or just plain old the cutting room. Yeah. So enjoy the video, and let me know what you think of it, and take care.
Gonna be doing the LPV to runway 5 at Charlotte Monroe Executive, and we got the jerry-rigged recording devices of choice going on right now. All right, so
traffic
for the 750 right now,
runway 5, Monroe.
we got, I know we had 28 pounds, 28 gallons, sorry, 28 pounds. Enter fuel on board, it's burning about 9 gallons per hour. so let's go to the flight plan, and we're going to add a waypoint. The cool thing about the waypoint adds is that if I just type in the first letter, it does a pretty good job of guessing. So 0 is going to be our first fix, add waypoint. WUXFO is going to be the next one, W, and sure enough it guesses with the letter is pretty close. And then we are going to add the approach.
Monroe traffic, Cessna turning.
So we're going to go to the procedure,
Monroe,
approach.
runway 5.
The airport is Keqy. We're doing the approach, the RNAV to runway 5 LPV. And we are not doing the vectors transition. We're going to do the Mosey transition just to show you that. All right, so we're going to load that approach, not activate it just yet. Okay, if we loaded and activated, it would send us straight to the fix, the final fix that we had, which would be Mosey, and we don't want that right now. Okay, so looking at our whole flight plan right now, start taking off out of Charlotte Monroe, Zure, WUXFO, and then the approach to runway 5 at Charlotte Monroe with Mosey as the IAF. Okay, we're planning on doing the LPV to a mist, and the mist approach for that. We'll see how that works with the GPS, where it'll suspend. We need to unsuspend it because it assumes you're doing the landing, and so the RNAV to runway 5. The mist approach there is climb to 1100, then right turn to 2500, direct to Mosey and hold. All right, so one thing I want to show you also, and before we take off, is that I want to, even though Mosey's at or above 2,500 feet, I want to change that to at, and I want to change that to 3,000 feet, so we can get a VNAV solution presented and displayed. Okay, and that's pretty much all for the setup here. So let me save that. So right now Mosey at 3, and which is not really what the approach plate says, at or above 2,500, but 3,000 is still legal, and that's going to get us to show a VNAV solution going into Monroe. All right, some other things about the 750. If we press and hold the home button, it comes up with a map initially, and a nice big old map screen. If we want to put something in the standby here, 13577, which is the
Monroe traffic, Cessna turning left.
Put that in the standby window. That's the Charlotte Monroe ASOS. All right, let's go with the run-up.
All right, I'm going to my run-up. So, brakes on, fuel to both, trims takeoff, flight controls clear and correct, free and correct, mixtures of the best power, primers in.
18 Celsius. Altimeter 2985. Remarks.
2985 and 85.
Monroe Airport. Automated weather observation. 18.
Left mag about a 50 drop.
Wind missing.
Monroe traffic, Cessna left downwind, runway 5.
Right mag is about a 50 drop. RP looks good.
Good oil temperature, good pressure.
The alternator shows charging. Run-up is complete.
All right, sounds good.
All right, close my window.
Now let's make sure these are all recording. That's good, yeah. Okay. And the right, the final looks clear. And what did that guy do? Stay in the pattern? Don't know, don't care.
Not sure.
Traffic, 25 Bravo, Hotel left crosswind, runway 5 Monroe.
So someone's on crosswind. I don't see anyone on final. Do you? Nothing on the TCAS, or the traffic, I should say.
Monroe traffic, Scout 2866 name is departing runway 5 Monroe.
Monroe traffic, Skyline 25 Bravo, Hotel left downwind, runway 5, departing the pattern to the south of Monroe.
See a 5 on the DG, 5 on the compass, 5 on the runway.
Yep, and 55 up.
Powers at full. Airspeed is coming alive. There's 40.
There's a nose wheel shimmy.
There's a nose wheel shimmy. minutes 70.
Monroe traffic, Cessna turning final, runway 5, Monroe.
Need to check the Freon in the air conditioner.
Oh, I know. I'm dripping.
Monroe traffic, Skyline C5 Bravo Hotel departing to the southeast, Monroe.
Okay, nice departure, Darren. Good job. All right, so continuing with this, right now it's got no wind data for us. I wonder why. Maybe the TAT probe's not working. In any event, it is coming from that direction, it feels like.
It is definitely blowing us to the right.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. It came up now. Finally got a TAT. 11 knots, 320, direct crosswind. Okay. All right, so right now we're heading direct to Zoour, and our initial leg is in purple, and it's showed down here as well, Keqy to Zoour. And if you want to go straight to the flight plan, by the way, just hit that thing. That also takes you straight to the flight plan. Alternate mode to get to the flight plan is hit the home button and hit the flight plan key. But the shortcut, which we're all about shortcuts, is to just hit that button. And of course the back button kind of works like a regular browser, if you will. Okay, we do have a message. We can hit that. It's probably tanks. We'll keep them in both for a little while, Darren. Whatever you want to do with that. That does not disappear. That stays in regular memory for each flight. All right, we got a
on the go, runway 5, staying left.
right to 181 in 5 seconds or whatever. Right to 181 now. We notice that the
Monroe traffic, Cessna turning final, runway 5, Monroe.
all right, so the makeshift shade to keep the center camera from overheat. Hopefully that'll work. But all right, so this is one reason probably why I should, if I want to do these, we'll do them at night. Okay, so we just passed Wuxvo. Now we're inbound to the next fix. And I like being in manual range here. You notice some other stuff with the 750, and this is the way I like to put it up, is desired track on the top here, track, and then cross track on the bottom left. I like to have the distance from the field. Right now that's showing distance to the next waypoint. So 13.6 matches the 13.6 up here. But I like to change. I like to have a different field there. So. And here's where we change those fields, and it's, I believe it's here, yeah. System, user fields, and you just tap on the button that you want to configure. And for this one, I like distance and bearing from the destination airport, personally. So we're 4.6 miles away from EQI. And now why is that? Why do I like that? I like having that different. The distance to the next waypoint is up here already. So we already have that displayed, and a lot of times ATC wants to know where you are in relation to the field, and that gives a great depiction there. So hey, we're 5 miles, south of Monroe, 4,000 feet, and information alpha or whatever. Okay, so back to the map mode. couple other neat things with the map mode.
We're level at 339.
Okay, excellent. So we'll hold that. If you look here, we got a magenta. Well, it's actually like a little cyan, maybe a greenish, right? That magenta arrow, or that cyan arrow, is our 60-second look ahead. So 60 seconds from now, if you didn't do anything, you'd be at the tip of the arrow, okay? So it's a great trend vector, and if you want to know which way you need to turn to get the airplane back up with a wind correction, you get that arrow right on top of the purple. So right now we need to come right a little bit. That matches what the track and desired track show. So when track and desired track are right on top of each other, that arrow should be right there as well. All right, so we got 11 miles from Mosey. And here's the rest of our approach.
Turning left downwind, runway 5, Monroe.
Now we haven't done anything to the rest of the approach. We got someone down here at 1,900 feet below us, and so he's at 2,000. You can change the traffic if you prefer to have, instead of relative altitude, you can change that to regular. And somewhere in there, that's in one of the defaults. So map default, menu, map setup, traffic, and traffic range, all traffic. I guess you can't change that to flight level. Huh. I'll be darned. I might be missing something. I'll have to look that up. I don't know everything about this box yet. I'm trying to get myself squared away. Anyway, so we're inbound to Mosey. Right around here, you'd probably end up getting the, whoops, I hit the CDI button by mistake. You'd probably end up getting the ADIS or the ASOS. So, actually, Darren here, I got to credit, oh, this is blocking you. Our makeshift sunscreen. But I got to credit Darren with showing me how to do the monitoring on, let's say the COM2 was out in op, you can actually monitor the ASOS by hitting that button. And we're monitoring, but if someone actually said something or we need to transmit, it's all going to be on 22.7.
Altimeter 2984.
So right now we're...
Density altitude 2,900.
Sales traffic 19675. Center traffic Skyline 1, right base, runway 5 at 10.
So we're still monitoring the ASOS. And you notice that someone transmitted and it cut out the ASOS. So if you didn't want that, we'll stop the monitoring and hit the COM2 button. And now we're listening to the ASOS on COM2.
Altimeter 2984.
All right, 8-4 dropping rapidly. So 8-4 here, and 8-4 down there. One thing we can do that hasn't been done yet, we can center this guy up with roughly where we want to be with the cross-track arrow. And we also, since we want to fly 3,900 feet, we can change this to 39 and select that altitude. So now we got 3,900 feet selected. That's okay, I was blocking his view there for a little bit. All right, so definitely we got winds out of the north, actually west, northwest, 290, 14 knots, 5 miles to go. And what should come up eventually, and if we go back to the map page, is we have a top of descent page, a top of descent. So that TOD that shows up there is top of descent. And we'll get a little warning come out of come out of the 750 saying something about VNAV coming up.
Vertical track.
There's vertical track. So it warns you that. So 1 minute away from the top of descent, it warned you. And then also what else popped up was the V vertical track here with the caret, which is different than the diamond that you'll get for the LNAV, VNAV, or ILS. And right there we got V and vertical track and the same caret, okay? Other stuff with the G5 that's kind of cool, we do have a turn and slip indicator. The magenta carrot, anything that's magenta is what you're trying to fly with the CDI solution, or the GPS solution, I should say. You do have a turn indicator with the magenta that comes out here, left and right. We do have 2 green carrots that show the standard rate turns. Standard rate turns. Okay, good. That show the standard rate turn indication there. Okay, so top of descent's coming up. We noticed the carrot, so we can start our descent. And chances are you probably would have already done some sort of checklist or something. At the top of descent, that's a good time to do it. Okay, now I did a lot of talking there, but let me brief this up. So we're going to do the RNAV GPS runway 5. I got it's dated 18 June 2020, so it's fairly recent, inbound to Mosey. Mosey is the initial approach fix at above 2,500 feet. We stay at or above 2,500 feet all the way to Jamin. Jamin's the final fix. On the LPV, going on at 883 barometric, which is 200 feet above the field. We need a half-mile viz, and we have that. ASOS, we got the weather, 35,775, and we'll cancel with clearance, not today. And UCOM's 22.7, which we really haven't changed that. I plan on doing a, and this is up to Darren who's flying it, but probably 100 knot or 90 knot approach. And then once we get to the, once we get to the decision altitude, we'll decide to make it and then start throwing flaps out and slowing down gradually to land, okay? In this case, we're going to go around to show you the missed approach and how that all works.
We are descending to 3,000 now.
Descend to 3,000. And we can, and probably should, change this to 3,000 feet since we're descending out. And that's actually going to be critical when I finally get the, and there we go, start turning. When I finally get the autopilot installed, seeing how that all works together to have the final altitude, okay? All right, so 3,000 feet.
I need to know if I have any lows on board.
Was the altitude at Mosey, and so you go back to.
You have 3 low, 3 getting out low, the rest of the top, and it's 19 boarding.
Okay.
Okay, 19 on, 3 low. Got it.
You're hot fueling when you land.
That's right.
And here's some other cool stuff that I just kind of noticed. We got distance to faded, which is the next waypoint, and that's 7 miles away. So all that stuff is in the time to the waypoint, and then the distance. Distance also is up there to the next waypoint, but you can also look at the times and distances to the other waypoints. All right, go back to the big picture here, and we're still at 3,000, but we are cleared down to 2,500 with this leg of the approach. And let me go out a little bit. Now what it did was show another top of descent, and that assumes you're going to stay at 3,000 feet. But we don't have to in this case. We're cleared down to 25 as part of the approach. So I'll leave that up to the pilot's discretion. Basically, a pilot's discretion descent cleared the approach at or above 3,000 feet is what probably would say. So we're cleared down to 25 for this this IAF leg.
So I'll go ahead and maintain 3,000 until we get to the top of the descent again.
Okay.
Kind of show that again.
Sounds good.
I am going off my altitude over here because that is blocking that in my reminder. So
I get it. All right, other stuff with the map setup. I like to have a track up, and there is a north up above a certain altitude, and the visual approach selector will come on automatically at 2.5 miles. And if you've got something really important that's in the bottom left data point, the visual approach selector is going to block that. So that could actually be off if you want, but 2.5 is not bad. I like auto zoom off, and that's just a personal preference. Why do I like the auto zoom off? I like to control when I bring the rain scale in. And I kind of like to know what the rain scale is. When it does the auto zoom and it gets close to a fix, it starts zooming in more and more, and then it makes you look like you're going, all of a sudden you went SR71 speed because you're at like a half-mile rain scale. And I don't like that. That's too detailed for me. So I like the auto zoom off. That's personal preference. Okay. There's other stuff with the map setup, and that's all easily to play with. How much detail you want, when to label the airspace, etc. Okay.
Did we decide we just want to do a low approach, missed approach on this?
Missed approach.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is do the missed approach, which has us go back to Mosey, but then I'll break you off and do vectors to Faded for the ILS that time. All right, so vertical track, we just heard that audible. That's a 1 minute away from the top of descent, okay? And sure enough, that makes sense because our little arrow was 1 minute away. Now we're 30 seconds away. That's kind of neat. So that's a 1 minute away carrot. So now we're 30 seconds away because we're half the length of that arrow.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a call.
Sure.
Monroe traffic, Skyhawk 2866 Lima's 14.5 miles out to the southwest. We will be flying the RNAV into runway 5, low approach.
All right, so sure enough, there's our carrot, the vertical track, as we take it on down. That is also programmable. Right now, it's basically wanting us to do a 500 feet per minute descent, and that's what we have programmed in. That is all programmable with where is that? Cut! Where is that?
That's it.
That must be utilities? Okay.
Your VNAV program.
There we go. Okay. So here's utilities and then VNAV. And right now we have it programmed to be, whoever programmed this is a 3-degree flight path angle, which turns out to be about 500 feet per minute in this case, and VNAV is enabled. There's also some hints there about if you wanted that data, you could put that in. I think that is programmable too, if we wanted one of the data points. But now I'm talking too much.
Monroe traffic, Scout 2866 Lima's on a 14-mile final, runway 5, Monroe. I can still see the red light flashing in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we definitely got some crosswinds.
Monroe traffic system making short approach, runway 5, touch and go, Monroe.
Okay. So, in the big boys area, we usually set our altitude to what we're really going to fly, so 2,500 feet. In this case, setting the decision altitude is probably not. I have to do some thought about that because that's not how most of the airliners are mechanized to set an MCP altitude, which that is kind of called, versus decision altitude. So, but you could set 900 feet as decision altitude, or especially if there's an MDA, then that is certainly applicable. But if for decision altitude, where you're going to make a decision at that point, I'm not sure that's something you want to put in there. But I've put some thought in the best practices of using the G5 and the altitude setting, the cyan altitude setting. Okay, so if you notice, we're coming up on what is it, Jamin now. All right, so we're coming up on Jamin. 5 miles to go. This is not a V, that's a G now, so that's important. Your altitude, 2,500. So notice though that was a good demo, Taryn. That when we get out of a certain parameter of the altitude, it does turn yellow and flash at you. So if you do happen to lose altitude Forget where you're at a little bit there. You're going to get at least some sort of flashing indication that you're not on the altitude. Okay?
Hey, Charlie Uniform, you up?
So 4.4 miles from
2275.
from Jamin.
Monroe traffic, Skyhawk 2866 Lima's 10-mile final, runway 5 Monroe. This will be a missed approach. Looks like we have one other plane on final ahead of us. I do not see him visually though. He's about 5 miles up.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. My 4 flight said traffic 5 o'clock. I don't know why it would warn me about traffic that's at my 5 that's going away from us, but it did. Maybe it met some criteria there. And sure enough, I had to zoom out to see that traffic. By the way, 4 flight ties in with the GTN 750. I won't show it right now, but you actually tie into the GTX 345, the transponder, and the permission to do so is done through the 750. So figure that one out.
Monroe traffic, temp 46 Echo, radio check. Monroe Unicom.
46 Echo, loud and clear.
Okay. Now we're working the approach cruise. What did you want to be at for approach cruise? Remember those power settings and stuff?
90, yes sir.
Okay. So we're getting close to where you probably want to be approach cruise, if not already, right?
I'm setting my power to 2300 now.
Okay. And that'll gradually slow down.
Yep.
Okay.
Runway 5, Monroe.
All right. You can slew this if you just press and hold. If you want to see some other traffic, you can also pinch and do a lot of iPad looking stuff. And if I wanted to get a better picture with us down at the bottom and see the traffic, someone just turned crosswind, 700 at 1,800 feet. So that's good, but notice what it thinks that you want to do is some sort of graphical edit or create a point. So once you're happy with that, you can either leave that right there if you like that, but realize this put the map in like some sort of pseudo mode, right? So if you hit the back button, it goes back to with the rings.
We're intercepting the glide slope.
Okay. And yeah, what was it, 1,800 feet? Car beat, good. All right. So we are 6 miles out. That's what I like, having a distance bearing to the airport. If you are doing general aviation calls, there's your calls right there. We're 5 miles southwest of Monroe on the RNAV runway 5 low approach.
Monroe traffic, Skyhawk 2866 Lima's 5-mile final, runway 5 Monroe. This will be a missed approach.
All right. So we have 3 miles to Woeville, but Woeville is that's an LNAV only fix. Has nothing really to do with the LPV. But you have to know that right now it's not 2.8 miles from the runway, it's 2.6 miles from Woeville, okay? If you actually wanted the distance to the runway, you'd have to go out here, and we're actually 4.1 miles from the actual runway, if that mattered to you. We're 4.5 miles from the center of the field, okay? All right, so a little bit there.
Monroe traffic, temp 46 Echo, taxiing from the ramp to the run up for runway 5, Monroe traffic.
Okay.
We're going down to 883.
Yep.
I know there's one more plane in the pattern, so.
Yeah.
Monroe traffic, Skyhawk 2866 Lima's on a 3.5 mile final for runway 5. We will be executing a missed approach.
And Monroe, traffic on downwind 66 Lima does not have you in sight yet.
Monroe traffic, Cessna on the left, extended left downwind for runway 5. We have the traffic on final in sight.
Okay, thank you. All right, so he's out there somewhere, pretty much co-altitude. All right, so we're 1 dot high. We're doing a little bit of VFR work here and making sure that we're not messing up anyone's VFR practice. He actually could have made it in ahead of us. I don't know why he extended, but either way, we're good. All right, so we're 1 dot high, descending on back down, probably adding a few hundred feet per minute to the descent rate, which is going to increase our speed a little bit. All right, 1180 for 883, and this will be a go-around. We're coming up on the glide path, so get the glide path back.
Monroe traffic, Cessna turning final, Monroe, runway 5.
1000 for 883. And usually 100 above is when you say approaching minimums. I know that's the way it is at my big boy school. Minimums. So approaching minimums.
And we are at minimum.
Minimums going around.
No joy going around. Our full pitch up. RP off.
Okay. All right, so notice on the go around, we have missed approach waypoint reached. We can remain suspended, or in this case, we want to activate the GPS missed approach. So we go up and hit that, and that's going to wait for a little while before it gives us the track.
Monroe traffic, Skyhawk 2866 Lima is executing missed approach, runway 5, Monroe.
And this missed approach is climbed to 1,100 feet. So as soon as we hit 1,100, that magenta turns, the magenta turn over to the right back to Mosey executes on the...
And Monroe traffic, Skyhawk 2866 Lima will be making a right turn out of the pattern, headed back south.
All right. So we're climbing out at whatever you need, probably VY in this case. We've done our our missed approach checklist. If we were on Unicom, we're going back to ATC and saying, hey, we went missed approach, executing the published missed, passing 1,600 feet. Okay, Roger, passing through 1,600 feet. We have your radar contact, say intentions. And that's when you say intentions.
Intentions.
Say altitude. Altitude. Okay, so we just did Mosey. We didn't either didn't break out, or maybe there's a tractor on the runway or something like that. And this missed approach instructions is fly direct to Mosey and hold as published. So what happens here? So this shows Mosey. And if you look down here, there's a holding pattern. It's a 4-mile hold pattern, okay? If we go to the actual flight plan, sure enough, it has this hold at Mosey, and it's going to stay in the hold until you do something else with the box, okay? So, so it's going to stay in the holding pattern.